Hi, this is Becky Mader with a presentation on tort liability. So the definition of tort, it is a common law jurisdiction. It's a civil wrong that causes someone else to suffer loss or harm. It results in legal liability for the person who commits the act. This is relevant for schools for many reasons, and we're going to talk about some cases and how they impact our education. So the first lawsuit that we're going to talk about, this is one that is regarding sexual harassment of a student by a teacher. It happened off campus. The student brought the suit against the school, and the courts ruled that because the person who had the minimum authority to address the discrimination was deliberately indifferent to the harassment, unless that was true, then the school would not be liable. So sometimes the school is liable, but in this particular case, the school was found not liable. So some ways that this would impact us in general, we would need to be having some individual conferencing, probably some intervention plans with the accused teacher, lots of documentation, guidance, and clear expectations of what we expect of our educators, especially for protection of our students and emphasis on safety of our students at all times. So some things we could do beforehand to prevent this type of situation is having clearly outlined expectations that are communicated frequently and clearly, and also a strong interviewing, hiring, and evaluation practice in place for our district. So professional ethics that would be relevant would include just in general sound morals, professionalism, and compassion for children. So I know that this could happen in a variety of different situations, but I know that a lot of times when we're interviewing staff, we're seeking a lot of background information from people who know them, their history, what kind of person they are, both in and outside of school. So I think that that could be really important and relevant. The next case that we're going to talk about, this is a case that is against a school district alleging that his suspension was based on the threats that he made to shoot other students, but he was fighting this in regards to the First Amendment freedom of speech rights. So it was determined that since this was something very serious and a legit threat, the student's conduct does not fall under the laws that would protect him with the First Amendment. So reactive implications here, interventions and social emotional support for the student who made the threat. Obviously, student needs some help and some support there, some guidance definitely. Proactive things that we could do would be having an awareness of the severity of threats, taking all threats seriously, and then also having a protocol in place prior to this type of thing happening that is clearly understood by all staff members. Professional ethics, again, strong communication and leadership skills in the event of a threat or crisis. I think pre-planning and thinking through these processes and protocols and having those resources available to you is really important. Calm decision making, which can be tough in the moment of crisis, but it's important to think fast and act slow, or sometimes think fast and act fast, but you've got to have sound mind when you're making these decisions in the moment of crisis. And then always collaborating with a variety of stakeholders and seeking input from others is definitely important. The next case that we're going to talk about, this case is again talking about the First Amendment, freedom of speech rights. The student had created a hate website against another student, and in this particular case, it was a disruption at school. So even though it was happening outside of school, without school resources, it was disrupting school. So this was not meriting First Amendment protection, same as the other. So reactive measures could be character education, which hopefully is in place as a proactive measure. I listed it there as well. And then again, individual interventions or services for the student involved. I think when these types of things are happening, our students are obviously in need of some help and some support, not just academically, but socially, emotionally. So professional ethics that might be relevant here, modeling the use of digital age tools, those expectations of social interaction, and following through with those with integrity, fairness, and sound ethics, because we do want to look at the whole picture of our successful students, not just academically, but also socially, emotionally. The next case, this was a case where The action was brought against a school district. Again, First Amendment rights were violated when there were provocative and suggestive photographs on social media. So I kind of have a common theme here, but I was sort of looking at bullying and the social emotional aspects. That's kind of a focus for our district right now. So I was really looking at this, and we want our students to come across with strong character and make good decisions in all aspects of their life. So I like how this one states that if you act in a manner in school or out of school that brings discredit or dishonor upon yourself or your school, you might be removed from those things. So the policies in this particular case were found to be too broad and vague under constitutional standards. So in this case, the school district has some reactive measures to take care of, maybe rewriting the handbook guidelines to be more explicit and more clear, proactive measures communicating the policies and expectations and safeguards to protect, again, the safety of our students and staff. So I think also some mentoring situations would be helpful in this particular case. So the next case here that we're going to talk about, this particular case was dealing with students with disabilities. And again, this is kind of an area that's close to me with my background in special education, so that was one reason why I chose this. And again, the bullying was a common theme. And I think in my current role, I'm acting as an interim principal right now, and I have felt like a lot of the situations that I'm dealing with discipline involve bullying in one way or another. And I think from the reading that I was looking at with the articles and things that were provided, it's really important not to be negligent about this and to document. So again, I found this case to be particularly relevant. It talks there about the school taking prompt and appropriate action when responding to bullying that may interfere. So disability or no disability, but I think as the research shows, students with disabilities may be more prone to this and can't always stand up for themselves or defend themselves in the way that a typical peer probably could. So reactive measures, review of the reporting procedures and emphasis on the important and prompt appropriate action. Being proactive, providing training for all staff, and we have some new programs in our schools over the last couple of years that do address this in a very explicit and precise manner. And then we've also had school disability days where teachers and all other students go through stations to learn what it's like to have a particular disability, and it's been really great for helping kids develop empathy and that sort of thing. So that's why I listed there things, opportunities to experience what it's like to have those disabilities. That's been a really great experience that I hope we can continue. So there, the professional ethics, the empathy is one of those important things that I mentioned before, and then understanding and compassion just for human beings in general. So in summary, I have mentioned why I chose these common themes and why I chose these particular cases and how they apply to me in my current experience. And the standards that I chose tie right in there with cyberbullying, sexting, other serious concerns. They're real and relevant dangers for our students. They must be recognized, understood, and addressed. And again, student safety and even staff safety is an integral issue in our district. Right now, especially, we've had some changes in leadership, and it's a really common theme that's coming up. We've had a lot of mandated training on suicide prevention and such, with a focus on taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other, not just academically, but that really highlighting the social emotional needs of our staff and our student. And I think that that is really important in order to ensure the safety and success of each student. So thank you for watching.